Ready. Play.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the producer wants us to preview the Nishesh Novak first round. So, kind of, what are your thoughts? Personally, I'm not expecting it to be very competitive. I just feel like the quality gap is still definitely there to a big enough point that I just think the first set is going to be very telling. Like if Novak comes out and we see like that edge in the shot selection and just kind of um, most of the parts of the game, I would still take Novak in straight sets. But if the first set is pretty tight, that's a good sign for Nishesh already. And like Novak's record when he wins the first set in these majors is just ridiculous. It's like 317-6 or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a really tough ask for the underdog. I don't think he's gonna be like dead tired by the time he reaches the opening round in Melbourne, given that he lost today, doesn't have the one extra match even. But still, he's had a very intense first 2 weeks of the season already, and he's not a guy who generally is the fittest yet. And against Novak, I just don't really see how you can kind of like attack him in the way that Nishesh does. Of course, maybe you can argue that Novak at this point, his movement has declined a bit, so maybe the drop shots are going to be more effective. Maybe you can get on top of him, but the serve is going to be a massive advantage for Djokovic. It's not really underrated anymore. Everyone rates it by now, but it's going to be a massive factor in an encounter like this on a relatively fast court. And I just think Novak will probably like his chances of like keeping the ball at points pretty tight and clean. But it should be very fun to watch. Like, I don't really expect that much to be anything exciting in terms of the scoreboard and everything. If it is, even better. But it should be very fun to watch because of all the comparisons that have been made between Djokovic and Basavareddy. Even Nishesh himself obviously is fueling that, in the sense that he said that he modeled his game after Novak, which you can see in many ways. The redirection, the aggressive returns as well. Also, simply the two-handed backhand and everything that kind of goes along with that. So it should be really nice to just see them going up against each other and basically have this very clear comparison between the two, just see them next to each other. But I don't expect too much from that match, to be honest. I think that could be one of these draws where you're like, okay, so yeah, my tournament is over. Most likely I can just come out, play the best that I can, but it's just too tough for the moment. But it's great experience.
Yeah. Great experience indeed. And yes, somebody pointed out in the chat, I don't remember who, I think it was Gene, that Novak went 4 sets with Dino Prismic. Obviously different type of opponent in terms of how they approach the game, but there were some similarities to Novak there. Of course, it's like a much different approach that Nishesh has than Dino. But yeah, it is possible we could see Djokovic a little bit rusty in this first match or so. But personally, I think I'm expecting a higher level from Djokovic than what he did in the first round last year.
Yeah, he was also a bit sick at the beginning of last Australian Open. Djokovic, maybe that will also come into play. But also, yeah, just a different opponent. Like, Dino was able to defend and get into like this super extended long rally with him. Basically, be able to just compete with Novak and trust himself in this long point with Novak that most players really can't. And Nishesh, it's a very different game. He has to be aggressive. He has to try to create opportunities for himself rather than what Dino was trying to pull off.
Novak has lost in the first round of a slam, but that was just the first ever major that he played against Murat Safin in the 2005 Australian Open.
Yes, ages ago.